Hi. Gosh, it's bright. So we wouldn't be a fashion panel if we didn't have some digital goodie bags for you guys. So we have a POAP, which the numbers are right up there in front. And then we're going to have a sneaker, which we'll put up the cue card.
Yeah, everyone should have one of these on their seat with a QR code. So just scan and register, and then you get a free fashion NFT.
Yes. So thank you guys for coming. This is so amazing to have you here. Gosh, I didn't even introduce myself. I'm Peg Samuel, and I'm innovation tech consultant and co-founder of Fear Studios. I've been in this space for a long time. And then the NFT, blockchain, DeFi space since like 2017. And last year when I spoke at this panel, or this conference, like only my crypto friends knew what NFTs were. Anybody outside were like, what are you talking about? So it's so amazing that it sold out 5,000 tickets here. And then we get to like go into micro conversations within that people completely understand what we're talking about. But with that said, like outside of this ecosystem, we want to be able to bring brands and fashion in, and that'll be our conversation today. But first, why don't you each introduce yourselves?
Sure. Hi, I'm Michelle McCormack. I'm founder and CEO at Casting Coin and founder at Fear Studios.
Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Singh. First, I just want to thank Peg for moderating this panel. For folks who don't know, she's a professor at NYU, so it's truly a treat and a privilege to have a panel moderated by someone who is a faculty member of that university. So thank you, Peg, for coming.
Thank you.
And I just want to thank all the NFT.NYC team behind the scenes. You don't see them, that are working so hard to make this event happen. My name is Ravi Singh, like I said, and I created the world's first Indian digital fashion NFT collection. I was part of the Meta Gala, which was the metaverse version of the Met Gala for Crypto Fashion Week, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. I was rendered as a digital avatar and wore a digital garment. And I sold one of my garments for 1.1 Ethereum, and it made national news in India. It was covered in the Times of India, which is the New York Times of India, and the Hindu, which is the second largest newspaper.
Amazing.
How do you follow that? Right? I'm Natalie. I am the founder of Nuno, which is a digital marketplace selling digital wearables and everything to do with fashion NFTs. So we're working with some really exciting brands, and we want to bring brands into this space because I think people want to wear brands in real life, and I think they'll want to wear them in the digital world as well.
It's amazing. I'm so psyched to dive in.
And
Michelle,
I think I can just go back a little bit.
I want to hear Michelle's backstory. You have an interesting backstory.
Oh, okay, sure. This is a good time to do it. So I'm a fashion photographer originally. I spent about 10 years doing that. Moved into digital coding, all that, marketing. And always wanted to find a way to merge the two things that I love, fashion and tech. And about 4 years ago, I heard of this thing called Ethereum. And I had an aha moment. I thought, where in my industry could disintermediation really solve a problem? And agents came to mind. I've been on so many photo shoots that I know firsthand the pain of that relationship sometimes. Especially with young models. And so I wrote a white paper and I started Casting Coin. We're a platform that connects brands directly with fashion shoot talent, models, photographers, hairstylists. Within about a month, I realized that we were way too soon for decentralization, and pivoted to becoming we're a centralized platform right now. We work with some of the biggest beauty brands, fashion brands in the world. Then sort of during crypto winter, didn't really do much in crypto. I'm an OG hodler. But then, March, April came around this year, and I had heard about CryptoKitties. I never heard the word NFTs. So I heard about NFTs, and I had another aha moment. I'm like, wow, this could be like the first space, the first time we can dip our toe back into the blockchain. And so that's Fear Studios was born. And so we are doing our first collection. We're dropping it in about a month. 10 models, PFP collection, 10 models, 1,000 NFTs each. And I'll, I think it's one of the first NFT collections based on real fashion models.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to dive into like the brands coming over to, so it's so interesting. Like we were talking about, it's funny because I feel like we've talked about so much because we were talking backstage. So we were talk about bringing brands into the metaverse through like AI or even into NFTs. So it's like there's the metaverse, there's NFTs, there's AI, there's all this digital stuff. Sometimes you show up at a brand's office and they're like, maybe have one person that can geek out with you, but then how does it make its way through? Can you speak more to that?
Yeah, there's a huge education piece. Some brands come to you with a very clear strategy of this is what we want, this is the game we want to be in, this is it. And then sometimes, you mentioned blockchain and NFTs and it's kind of just glazed look. So there's a massive education piece that needs to happen. Some brands are hiring teams, in this space, but not all brands have the resource or foresight to do that. And so they use people like us and consultants to help them with their strategies, because it's not just hire a couple of people and off you go. It's complete change throughout the organization that need to get, you need 3D renders, you need a lot of technical knowledge to kind of do what we're doing. And it's not something that you can just whack a team in and kind of hope they get it.
What are some of their like questions that they have when you're talking to them in initial conversations that I'm sure they ask you a couple basic, but then the ones that make you think?
The biggest challenge I'm finding is around IP, and there's a lot of legal issues of getting a lot of hurdles, which is slowing the process down. And I think the opportunity for me could be, if they just sort of release that and really got the whole point of decentralization, like actually give some of that IP to your biggest fans, your biggest customers, let them go and create on your behalf, then we could see some amazing things happen. But the brands are very, very protective. So I think it would take one very exciting brand to give it a sort of a go.
Right.
But I think they're all a bit too...
Yeah, because it's like the brands have built this brand equity, and that's the way they're.
But that's the opportunity for new designers that they get it and get this space. New artists that maybe are more into it.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, for me, I'm not in the fashion establishment. I'm a independent person. I was born and raised in Brooklyn to a single mom. She was from the West Indies. My dad is Indian. He's a cab driver. My mom raises by herself. I just love blockchain. I love how it's empowering individual people to change the world. That's what it was like for me. I just was inspired by seeing digital fashion and digital fashion NFTs for the first time in maybe a long time. NFTs enable ordinary folks to create content that challenges the establishment. And I love the anti-establishment energy that it makes. So for me, when I hear about brands jumping in, I just get a little anxious because I'm like, is it gonna be a thing where they end up with all the capital and all the investments and other folks like myself who are really excited about it, interested in tech, and want to build a community, just get beat, right? But I'm still hopeful. My background actually is I'm an attorney, and I went to Vanderbilt, Northwestern Law, got full scholarships, practiced law at Cleary and Cooley, and worked with Etsy and Uber. I was doing billion-dollar deals, million-dollar deals for the Central Bank of Argentina and Goldman Sachs. But I found the blockchain, and there are plenty of other ways to make a lot of money. When you're an attorney, you could buy some property, be a landlord, invest in traditional securities. I said to myself, I want to change the world, and I found a designer. Her name is Lorena Bello. She's based in Madrid. She believed in my vision. I reached out to a ton of people, and I said, here's my vision. Let's work together to make it. She said, I love it. We worked together for nights and weekends, and we literally changed the world. I literally beat the entire traditional establishment Indian, South Asian fashion industry, which is a multi-billion-dollar industry, with this idea. And that's what I love about blockchain and crypto.
It's so cool. And it's also like you came in kind of like, so some digital artists are coming in through the space in NFT, and like the part of like the OG thing that interests me in NFTs are like, okay, that artist can come in and get another form, there's another form of art to be collected. And then also the secondary market part. It's like, as these things move along, the artist continually gets paid every time. And I've always loved that. I have a add-on question for you though. Like, so in terms of, so brands, we're trying to get them in to digital goods, let's put it that way, because metaverse is another niche. But for you having like a digital native, collection that you did, who were the buyers? Like, were they? Yeah, tell me.
Yeah. So my buyer is a teenage skater kid from New Jersey. He changed my life. I created a Bollywood digital garment because I said that I wanted my customer to possibly be Bollywood, because if Hollywood's making NFTs, then Bollywood will be. And India has 1.3 billion people. If you can get if you can create a fraction of art that relates to those folks, that's a huge industry. But I created a Bollywood digital garment. My collector just loved the outfit, and that's what I realized is the difference between being a lawyer and being an artist. Like. And being a salesperson and being in marketing versus just being an artist, I created art that was so irresistible that he wanted it, and he's not from the background, didn't know about the history, he just loved it. So for me, that's what I'm trying to do as an artist, make something that's irresistible. I want, instead of reacting to the culture, I wanted to create it. So who are the buyers? It's a good question though, because I have another outfit that's out on Portion. It's a Lenga Choli. It's the first Indian dress in the world. It's augmented reality. It's beautiful. It costs us thousands of dollars to make, and I put it on Portion, and it's been on there for over a month, and no one has made a bid. No one has made an offer for it. So for me, it's like, is this not the right? What's the issue? Is it my marketing? Is it what the story I'm telling? Is just no one interested? What's the issue? And it lives and dies based off of the buyers. If I don't have a buyer, I'm done as an artist. And then when you look at the metaverse and everything, it won't have that diversity.
Yeah. Let's talk about, Michelle, we love talking about the metaverse. I love hearing your opinion on it. So talk about the metaverse to us in terms of, your thoughts around it, because you're such a thought leader on so much of this stuff, like just your next level out there, and I love it. And then also how do brands kind of, like your thought around fashion and the metaverse and where it could go. I know it's moving. It went from moving like slow to kind of fast, and now it might go faster. And so there's the cue up for you just to go with that.
So, Sophia Studios, the vision is that it is someday going to be a group of studios in the metaverse, a place where photo shoots happen, parties, runway shows, networking. I guess think of like Pier 59 or Milk Studios back in the day, but in the metaverse. And I have a really practical vision for this, and that's, as a fashion photographer, that a shoot can be happening in New York City, and the creative director can be in LA, instead of doing it through Zoom, like what happens now a lot of times, or through Capture One, you do it in the metaverse. So the creative director actually feels like they're actually there, and they're actually interacting with the model, with the stylist, with the makeup artist, and that is magic. And when that happens, and I believe like I said, I started Fierce because of this, and I told Peg about it and our other co-founder, and they're like, "Can you do that?" And I'm like, "I don't know, but I think so someday." Right? Why not? And so you just have to start, and that's what we did. So we're starting with this collection of 10,000 models. Then we're going to do 10,000 makeup artists, because we have 10,000 makeup artists, believe it or not, and go from there. We're just really excited about it, I believe. Yeah, that's cool.
Can I ask you a question about that? Are you getting them rendered? You're getting them photo scanned?
We're doing so the 10,000. Mm-hmm. It's generative. It's PFP
nice.
generative.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Very cool.
really thank
Very
you.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like a fun generative take on the model.
Wait
So
till you
like
see it.
if they're side by side, you would recognize them, but it's almost its own standalone.
Yeah, it looks like an NFT.
Okay, very cool. Because I was asking because I've seen now that some models are getting themselves scanned, because, so that when they're older, they can still participate in events.
Oh,
yeah, so it's a whole thing where when they're in their 20s, they're getting rendered, and then so when they're 70 or what?
Me too, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe you could get de-aged, but and
It's
so
a bit sad though that we're
Right.
not like happy to age. That's my.
So rendered like as a video then?
they're getting 3D scanned, and they're like when I did my metaverse show, I was rendered as a digital avatar.
Oh, wow.
So they're getting rendered as a digital avatar, and they'll be able to license out their image and likeness to future events, and maybe in the metaverse, right? If they're going to a virtual reality fashion show, you could have someone who's you could be immortal in the metaverse.
Right.
that's true.
It's wild. Talk about fashion brands and like based on even like what we're saying is possible in AI.
Yeah, I think there's opportunity for everyone. I think I totally get that there's a lot of people that would be resistant or anxious about brands coming in because the whole ethos of decentralization and it's all about the individual artist, which I think there's space for. But we all want mainstream adoption, right? We all want this to go everywhere. That's why we're in this space. And I think brands help us get there. They bring a lot of money, they bring a lot of resource, and they can do a lot for the space.
Yeah.
It would be, in my opinion, sad and a missed opportunity if they just replicate what they're doing in the real world. That would be remiss. Like they need to come up with cool strategies. They need to come up with cool product that people actually want. They can't just come in and dominate. So that's the opportunity.
Yeah.
But they bring so much resource and they bring so much credibility and they bring an army of fans that wouldn't even know what crypto is. Like there's so many people out there. This is still quite niche. I mean, we all feel part of it. This feels like a huge event and it is, but it's not mainstream yet. And it's getting there with, again, I'm absolutely not into the Facebook thing, but he's putting it on the map for people, right?
Yep.
So, I don't want him to win. He thinks he's God, very anti it. But, people are now having conversations that didn't even know what this space was a week ago. So I think brands will help the conversation. They will bring cool product. They've got money. And I think that's what we need to focus on is they can do cool stuff.
Yeah, like
as well as individual artists.
I agree in that way too, and like what you're saying, and the same thing with the Facebook. It's like, okay, well, now it's a household name, Meta, right? And so the metaverse, but also in terms of, I think the genie's out of the bottle with NFTs in fashion, right? So we were talking about this, like there's a handful of brands that got into the metaverse through gaming, and so the same brands will be forefront in that. And then they're the same, like we had talked about maybe doing stuff around Fashion Week and what could that look like. And it's just like this whole, it's too soon. But like still having those ideas and just at least starting to present, and seeing, well, who picks up on these. And while those early brands come in, there's still, like as a media professor, it's like the headlines matter, right? This meta headline matters, and I won't digress into more that I think about it, but more people are out there. Like yesterday, I talked about on my mass adoption panel that, I think in the title it said, is it like a household name? I'm like, well, SNL made fun of, Pete Davidson did a great job of describing an NFT. As far as I'm concerned, a big New York SNL watcher, it's a household name. And then they took it and made it an NFT and then gave the money to charity. So it's like them became a story. So a lot of this stuff I also feel like with the sales is storytelling. And we might be like inside the gamers and inside our own economy here. But we sold out 5,000 tickets to this thing, and then more
3,000
people.
on a wait list.
And so it's like, that's a good economy. And then we're in like an altcoin run right now. It's a good economy. But to your point, or also history shows us there's ebbs and flows of this economy. So to your point, having brands come in with their established money, with their budgets will be like a great thing. And then hopefully they won't eclipse like just the artists and art, where it comes from.
I think
Go ahead.
that brands are, at least right now, seem a lot more open-minded. And I think that's because we're at this like perfect point of like where they don't understand at all, but it's becoming like seriously popular.
Yeah.
And like there's rarely ever that gap like that. And so they're willing to listen to people like us that, that they don't know really.
Yeah.
We're not like the big ad agencies and so forth. And so we were able to, strike some brand deals that we probably wouldn't have outside so quickly if it wasn't NFT/metaverse.
True, because people know the buzzword.
and they want to be involved. Like
Yeah.
brands, big global brands, do not want to be the last.
Yes.
To the party.
Yeah, I think there's opportunity for everyone, and what we're seeing, it's ultimately the customers will decide, right? If the brands do stuff that people don't want, they're not going to buy it. They'll just be sitting there with unsold things as well. And I think we're seeing really cool collaborations with tiny artists. They're putting artists on the map that you would never even have heard of, So I think there's so much opportunity that they can bring to help, individual artists as well.
Yeah. What are you guys? Okay, so I'll pose this almost as a last question. We just have a few minutes left. What are you most excited? Like, what are you most excited about? Like for this? And I'm not one of those people who be like 5 years out, because like I was talking to the guy behind stage. She's like, "I saw you last week, right?" And it's like, "No, it was yesterday morning." So, because this space, like the warp of time, like what's exciting you guys right now for the next soon? Like maybe it's we're in 2021 now, so maybe it's like within this next 6-month run or whatever. Like, what are you most excited about that you're working on or that you're seeing or anything like that? You're nodding at me like you really are ready.
Me? Yeah, I can start.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, obviously, I'm really excited about our PFP collection.
Sure.
We've been working really hard on it, and it's exciting, and the models are really excited about it. Educating people is fun, but educating it in a practical way for a reason, like this, like our models. Like, so one of our big marketing pushes right now is 10% of our marketing is going to be like to educate the public on like how to buy an NFT using MetaMask, like something as simple as that. But that feels so good to actually be educating people like that.
Yeah, and then some of this magic money we're giving to charity,
Exactly.
and some other things. So it's like onboarding, excitement, and for me, it's talking to people like you and having these cool conversations. But go ahead.
Yeah, just a quick note on the brand thing.
Yeah.
It made me think, for me, I don't, as any establishment person, I don't mind like calling people out and things like that, which I don't have anyone to call out right now. But for me, I see fashion as a way of social justice advocacy for me right now. I want to decolonize Web3. And what I've noticed, Dolce & Gabbana, they did their digital fashion drop and it sold for, $4 or $5 million. And
6 million.
Say again?
It was 6 million.
6 million. There you go. And so now there's
an extra million.
So Red DAO got created 2 weeks ago or so, and it's a bunch of whales, anonymous whales, I think, that are focused on investing in digital fashion. And I think to myself, well, okay, Dolce & Gabbana got $6 million in revenue now. They can hire more designers. They can invest in this. They can create really sophisticated, amazing work. But you look at South Asia, you look at a lot of other places in the world, they're not getting that type of capital inflow. So cultures live and die based off of the capital that they're getting, and we want to talk about representation in the metaverse and ensuring that a lot of people are brought in. Really, it comes down to making sure the capital is in the right place, and it's really about, for me, culture. I'm worried about cultural erasure in the metaverse, not from a perspective of like I just need diversity. It's more I want to create stuff that's just dope. Like my buyer just thought it was dope. I just want people to be able to be self-actualized and express themselves so everybody can enjoy it. That's, to me, the beauty of the diversity. Just you add it and you just like it. You just enjoy it. But what excites me about the metaverse, and I'll finish up most, is there's so many different things, right? One thing that I'm interested in, I was talking to Don, who's a Snapchat developer. We're talking about like a digital soul. Like a digital soul is where you're able to verify your identity across multiple platforms for your avatar, your alter ego. Because you're going to have your voice, your likeness, whatever. It'll be in the metaverse somehow. So how do you identify, like, this is Ravi Guru Singh here, this is Ravi Guru Singh on this platform, so what do you do, and how do you break that down? And then the other thing is just how we, I'll just stop there. I think digital souls are really interesting to me, and how we play that out.
Quick.
I think for me, the two exciting places are utility. So I think that's going to be really exciting, being able to invest in one cool piece and being able to take it wherever you, the customer, wants to take it. And the second piece is, I worked for a company for many years, and a designer made an iconic print for this brand that was put on bags, T-shirts, shoes, you name it. That one print made the company millions of dollars. She just took home her salary, a basic salary in London. She was not rewarded for this heritage item that put this brand on the map. And so with what we can do is we can actually work with a brand, and we can actually write the designer that designed something into the contract and start rewarding, there's artists within brands. We forget that, and I think that is where I want to get to with what we're doing in our platform.
I love that. We could talk about this for another hour, but we're over time. So thank you guys all for listening. We are done here. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.